Talking junk. Talking junk. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Welcome to Talking Junk. I told you guys for 2 weeks already, there was going to be a banging new intro. Banging. That was it. So I hope you like it because I fucking love it. And as I say every week, welcome to Talking Junk, the podcast that comes to you live every week with a brand new guest, brand new conversation, insight for your mind, or just some gritty banter for that ass. I am going to be accompanied today by 2 guests instead of 1. So there's going to be a jam-packed session of Talking Junk today. But first up, we have a legend in the making, folks. He is the producer that produced the song that you just heard. You all have seen him on one of these platforms that I've thrown out there in recent years. But you may know him as JL Beats. Well, like we shed our old intro, he shed his old skin, and he is now known as Glitxh. So without further ado, welcome to the stage, Glitxh. How you doing, brother?
Peace. How you feeling, bro?
Like I said a little while ago, bro, I'm fucking tired and stuffed. Dinner had me out. Almost fell asleep. It was goody though. How you feeling?
Hey, man. Just chilling, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just got done cooking up a little bit, man. I'm glad to be up here, man. I appreciate you.
No, the pleasure is all mine. You know, you're always welcome on the show. It's been a minute since we kicked it, though. So you've got a lot going on now, a lot that you didn't have going on before. First off, what prompted you to change your name?
So, I mean, it was a kind of a off the dome kind of thing with JL Beats. I just needed a name. I wanted to start production, so I just came up with some corny, some quick JL Beats. You know what I mean? And over time, it just kind of fell off for me. I just wasn't it. I just wanted to become something original, something that nobody has, something that could really also not only be different from other people, but really be a name that could represent the sound that I create. You know what I mean? So one day I was live. Funny story, I was live and I was lagging a lot because I'm actually in the basement in the studio. And shout out to Pops. He messaged me on the side because he knew I needed a name. And he said, "That's your name, Glitch, because you keep lagging all the time."
Okay.
So I was like, okay, actually that works because of the style I have too. So I changed the C for an X to make it original. So I put GLITXH. So that's how I came up with it, man.
Hey, there's been worse stories of people coming up with their names, but that's a great way to come up with it. Everybody's glitching, you glitching out on people. That's the best way to do it, and I understand because sometimes the glitches are the best thing to happen to you. We've glitched thousands of times on this fucking show, and we're still here. Glitches don't stop.
Facts.
So what have you got going on now? So you have new management now also?
Yeah, so I'm under management right now. I got a lot of crazy stuff that's gonna, unfold soon. I can't really speak on it right now, but I got a lot of stuff in the making right now. I can't wait for y'all to hear it. Can't wait to share it with y'all. I'm very excited. I know I have been under the radar. I haven't been talking to a lot of people, but I've definitely been working. You know what I mean? I'm not just sitting here lollygagging. I'm working, so I can't wait to share with y'all what I got cooking. So it's exciting.
The beats ain't gonna make themselves, right?
No, for real. No.
Neither is the money. Money ain't gonna make itself either.
No. I wish. Make things a lot easier for all of us.
Oh yeah. But let's go back. Let's backtrack a little bit. What even gave you the urge to want to be a producer?
That's a good question. So, music's always been a big part of my life since I was born. You know what I mean? I've always had music around me. started off playing the violin and stuff like that. So that was my first introduction into music, at least creating or playing music.
You
And
still
over
play the
time,
violin?
yeah, I do. Yeah, I do have the violin. Yeah. So I basically it started off with that, and eventually I started, learning the piano and stuff like that. So I was teaching myself piano, but eventually I got to a point where I was like, I wonder how these beats behind these songs are created. Like I have no clue how that's even created and what they use. So I did research on how stuff is created and stuff like that. So I was like, this is interesting, and I would love to incorporate my instruments to production and stuff like that if I could get to that point. So I did research, found FL Studio. I was like, okay, this looks, pretty cool. Let's one day we'll try it out. So I started off with GarageBand actually on the iPhone. I was making beats on there and stuff like that.
That's
And
usually where people start, garage band.
yeah, yeah. So I started off there, and I know, my parents, my pops, he saw, my mom saw, my stepdad saw, they all saw me really being committed to trying to learn production through GarageBand, and they know what I needed to work on because I was always talking about it, and they blessed me one Christmas with a computer and a keyboard and headphones, man, and FL Studio. So and that's where I started, man. And I've been since that day. I've been making beats every day. So that was 4 years ago. That was So that's how it came along, man. I know it's not really not interesting. It's just more of it was more of a question that really started it for me, actually. So more of like, how is this done? How did they do this? So and I did it myself, and I fell in love with it. Like this is my passion. I'll never change it for the word, man. So.
So when you started, how long did it take you to finish one beat?
I finished a beat in the first day. Uh, Maybe not completely professionally arranged, but yeah, I did finish one in the first day. Um, it wasn't the best, of course, but it was definitely a longer process to get that first beat done. But um, yeah, man, it's crazy thinking back to these days because I never do. You know what I mean? So it's pretty
So
dope.
now, how many beats can you bang out in a day now?
Oh my gosh, if I really sit down in a whole day, if I had the whole day to cook up, at least 20. If I had the whole day. At least. Um,
So from
Unfortunately,
one
we don't
beat
have
to
that kind
20
of
beats in
time.
4 years?
You said what?
So from one beat to 20 beats in 4 years.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's a
Yeah, it
fucking
is. Yeah.
crazy ass turnaround time. Now, when we talk about full day, we talk about 8 hours sitting at the computer.
If you're talking about full day, I'm talking like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 12 hours.
12
Like
hours for
that's
20
what I think
beats.
about a full day. If I had that type of time, I don't have that type of time. So,
No, it
uh,
does. The bills got to get paid, man.
yeah, for real. You know what I mean? That's just the name of the game right now. You gotta pay the bills, and I'm trying to get to the point where this could do that for me, man. So I've been just grinding every day, and just praying, man. That's it, man. That's all you could do. You know what I mean? Let him guide you. That's it.
Right, right. Now, all I'm not gonna say all because I can't speak for everybody, but most producers can contribute their at least their introduction to beats to one or multiple uh people they look up to. Now, who were your inspirations when you were growing up?
My inspirations, production wise, uh, Scott Storch has always been a number one for me, man. Scott Storch. The reason why I say that is me and him are very similar. We're self-taught pianists. We're musically, what I mean, knowledged, and stuff like that. So I feel like me and him would be really, really cool to work together. It'd be really cool. I feel like we would really connect on a certain level that maybe other producers wouldn't with him. Um, but he's a big inspiration of mine, and the list goes on. But if I had to choose one, it'd be him, for real. He's it's yeah, he's definitely the number one if I had to choose. But I could like the RZA, of course. Like I could go down the list, but Scott Storch should have it even number one. I'm not gonna lie.
What about artist wise? Who is an artist that you? Because I know you rap a little bit.
For fun. For fun.
Who can you? Who did you look up to as a rapper growing up?
Man, my number one has always been Method Man from the Wu Tang. Man, that's
And
that
that's because your
man.
pops is a huge Wu-Tang fan.
Yeah, and he made me a Wu Tang fan, like diehard Wu Tang fan. Like I know all their music, it's and Method Man just stood out for me, man. He's my favorite artist of all time. So, but yeah, he's definitely one I look up to for real. Hopefully one day we'll be working. So
That was going to be my next question. Who would you want on your beats now? And I
there's
guess
a lot.
Method Man would be the biggest one because that's your hero. But who
Yeah.
now do you think can get their hands on a JL beat and make it a hit?
Oh man, there's a list. Jordan Lucas, I know I would love to work with Jordan Lucas. Jordan Lucas would go crazy on my stuff. Black would go crazy on my stuff. I have a lot. I can go on. There's a big list that of people I would love to work with. But yeah, if I had to narrow it down, probably Method Man would be the one I would really want to work with. For like past generations, for now it'd probably be Jordan Lucas would be my main. If I had to choose an artist from this generation right now, it'd probably be Jordan Lucas. I'm not gonna lie. But overall, it'd be Method Man, and like overall.
Now you're starting your production empire. Within that production empire, you kind of always have to have a signature artist under your belt. Dre had a few of them. Timbo mainly has, Missy and Justin. Who, and I've seen already a comment on the comments there. Who can you say right now would be your number one go-to guy who's been all over JL beats? Oh, excuse me, Glitch.
Yeah, right. Oh man, I can't. I got three of them. I got three of them. They've all been equally, what I'm saying, working with me. Um, I got Elijah 4K, E4K. I got Easy Ave, and I got Fitted Santana. So those are the three main artists I work with. That are always hopping on my beats and always murdering these beats. You know what I mean? So, those are the three right there, man. I'm not gonna lie. Got some heavy hitters, man. Very talented, super talented individuals, man. For real.
Now, when can we expect your first mixtape coming out?
Whew, that's a good question, man. In terms of artist mixtape, like working with an artist, or terms of beat tape?
See, that's another question that's also good. I'd have to say your mixtape, your definitive mixtape. So think in terms of maybe DJ Drama or DJ
Okay.
Khaled, your own printed piece of work.
So I've been in talks with my team a little bit about that, and we actually brought that up actually in conversation. So that might be happening sooner than I expect. But it's something definitely in the works. But I can't really tell you when. But it's definitely been an idea for sure. In discussion. So um, yeah, hopefully soon. That'll be really dope.
Now, do you have beats in your library that you're like, these have to be reserved for me? These are my babies. These beats are mine. They're going to go on my projects.
Um, Not necessarily, because sometimes you gotta let them fly. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta let some stuff that you want to keep go. That'll probably be better in a different place. You know what I mean? So, like, there's some beats that I would, love to give to, artists and stuff like that that I know, but I know it'd probably be beneficial for all of us if I send them out somewhere for like placement or something like that. So, there's times where I really argue with myself on whether I should keep this in the tuck or should I let it go. And I've been letting a lot of stuff fly lately because it's just better that way. Because if that's the case, then I'm just sitting on money that's just sitting here, and I could be missing and passing up opportunities that are right there, and I might not know. So I let them fly, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, with that being said, you're a phenomenally gifted producer when it comes to music. Do you think you can see yourself somewhere in the future lending your talents to things of the cinematic nature?
So sync placements, movie scorings, commercials, stuff like that.
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. I've always wanted to do that kind of stuff too. Like I said, I play violin, so I play the orchestra, so I have, that kind of ear for that kind of stuff, and I would love to put that to use. Um, so yeah, definitely. There's some stuff I'm working on as well in the background. Some sync placement stuff. But it would be definitely really really cool to land some movies or something like that. That'd be really dope. So, but yeah, definitely working on that kind of stuff.
Are there any types of movies that you can see yourself immersing into, or do you not care much about the genre? You just care how you score it yourself.
I guess I guess if I had to choose, I know my sound would probably be better in more action thriller movies. But I could definitely I like to step out the box. I'm more open to doing anything, any genre of movie or commercial, anything, It just I like to s- I like to step out more than like I don't like focusing on one thing. I like to branch out and do everything. So yeah, I mean, if I had to choose though, I'd feel more comfortable doing action thriller type movies, horror movies, but I'm more open to doing everything. I'm open to doing anything. So
What is the main goal that you have with being a producer? Now, everybody I know would want to land on a label, sell millions of records. That's always the goal. But what is your ultimate goal?
goal as to where I want to be or goal as to the outcome of where I want to be.
So I would rather know where the outcome of where you want to be is rather than you tell me the ultimate goal. Because like I just said,
Okay.
everybody's going to say land on a label, sell millions of records, work with the best artists. But really, so for me, it would be, I want to be either on the radio or use my voice for voiceovers. But mainly, I just want to be happy with what I do.
Okay.
So something like that. What
Yeah,
would you say
definitely.
your end goal is?
So I mean, my end goal is I just want my family to be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I was gifted by God this talent, and in in the stuff that I be doing that I would love to be able to use that and be able to make sure my family's safe, comfortable. That's my end goal, like outcome wise. Goal wise, with the music, I want to be a Grammy nominated producer, man. I want to be able to say that I have a Grammy, man. It would be very humbling, really awesome. Be able to produce for Billboard charting artists, stuff like that. Um, that's a goal production wise where I want to go. Outcome wise, like I said, I just want my family to be comfortable, me be comfortable, and that's it. So I gave you like both there, outcome wise and where I want to
It's
go.
perfect.
So
That's perfect. Now, you've come a long way already in a short amount of time. Do you see the track that you're on? It be. Let me rephrase that question because I didn't like how that shit was coming out. Uh, the track that you're on, right? How long do you realistically think it'll take for you to reach 10% of your goal?
let me say that with how things are moving right now behind the scenes that I can't speak about very quickly, very quickly. If things are going the way that they are, is it'll happen. 10% will happen very quickly. Um, Again, that's if things how they are right now. If they keep moving in that direction, absolutely, it'll happen very quickly. Um, which is really exciting. So, but yeah, very quickly, very quickly.
Now, we know you're a busy man. We got about 10 minutes left in this. What I'm gonna ask you some spitfire questions just about the rap game in general, and we'll take it from there. With the
Okay,
landscape of hip hop right now, and all these beefs happening, who do you got right now that's on top with the best beef track there is right now?
the best beef track ever.
Not ever, for right now. In the past, I want to say 2-3 weeks, we've seen
Okay, Chris
J.
Brown,
Cole,
Quavo,
Kendrick.
Drake.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Ooh, I might get hatred for this one. I'm not gonna lie. Um, almost. They all went pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie. They all went crazy, but it's but because I can't really compare Kendrick because Kendrick only did like a verse or like he didn't. Also, it wasn't even a full verse of a diss. You know what I mean? So also Rick Ross as well. Ah, I don't know, man. That's a really really tough question. Man, put me on the spot like that.
You're the producer. You got the good ear.
Uh, man, yeah, because I in terms of production and stuff too, Drake went crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Drake's was hard. Drake's was tough. The Rick Ross's was tough. Chris Brown's was tough. So if I had to choose, it would be Drake for me. If I had to choose. If I had to choose. Drake went crazy. The beat was crazy. You know, it's just what it is. You know. Um, but if I didn't have to choose, all three of them went crazy. But if I had to narrow it down to one, like I said, it'd probably be Drake. I'm not gonna lie to you. Been crazy.
Okay.
Even though people are gonna say, "Oh, he didn't write it," you know, all that, whatever. It's the track is hard.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
whether
saying?
he wrote it or Lil Yachty wrote it, it was a
Yeah,
20v1, and the track is what it is.
exactly,
It's a
exactly.
fucking
So
killer.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
If there's one artist from the past that you can either dig out of retirement or dig out of the grave to work with a top artist today to be on a Glitch track, who would that pair be?
So you want me to name a person that's deceased?
They can be deceased or retired, just somebody from the past
Okay,
and somebody from the
and
new
then
school.
ooh, um, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is gonna be a pretty cool one that a lot of people aren't expect me to say. But Michael Jackson and The Weeknd.
Okay, I can see that.
I think that would be a really, really big track, you know? And I've been really stepping into that type of realm of music, like that 90s, like house type sound, that 90s electronic
Right,
music
it's coming
sound.
back.
You know what I'm saying? So, I think Michael Jackson on that with The Weeknd would be nuts. So, yeah, that's probably what I would say. Honestly, that would be really, really dope.
Okay. Now you've been signed to a label. Your artists are blowing up. You have your first album coming out. Who's on your first single?
Like anybody?
Anybody.
Probably Jordan Lucas. Jordan Lucas, 100%.
What about Tory Lanez?
100%. But he would. I listen. If I had to put them, I could put them both on there. But you said one, so
I know I had to play devil's advocate. Your dad is in
yeah, for
comment.
sure, for sure. He knows me more than I know myself. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean. So like easy. I have all these people on this album, but it's just like I would have one single with just a crap ton of people on it. Like you know what I'm saying? It was
So you would if okay. So you have your chance to produce the next band from TV track. Who's on your track?
mm, the next band.
You know what track I'm talking about. You have to know what track I'm talking about.
I don't.
No?
No.
Believe it was Big Pun. Hold on, let me get the whole track on right now. Because there's mad people on that fucking track.
Maybe if you play it, I might know.
Is Nature from Naughty by Nature, Big Pun, Cameron, Jadakiss.
Oh, okay,
Naughty.
yes. I know exactly what song you're talking about. I just heard it the other day, yeah. Which is crazy. I literally just heard it, what, like 3 days ago? I was
For the
listening to
first
it.
time?
Yes.
For the people that don't know what we're talking about, this is what we're talking about right here.
Yep.
All rights are reserved to NORE. The fuck you, YouTube? This is for educational purposes only.
Hey yo, regardless of rain or snow, sleet or hail, I kick street tales.
Okay, so you want me to pick a couple of people to be on the track?
On your track.
Okay. All right, let's do this. So we got
Technically, it's 6 people. It's Nori, Nature, Big Pun, Cameron, Jadakiss, and Styles. So who's your 6? Who's your band from TV6?
so definitely we have to put Av on there. Easy Av has to go in there. So Easy Av, I'm trying to see what would sound best together as a collective, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So we got Easy Av, then we got because I'm trying to picture what kind of production would be behind it. That's just the producer in me. What kind of production would sound right with these people? Who would hop on what? What would make it make more sense? You know what I mean? I feel like, damn. Because this is my thing. This is where I'm struggling. Easy Av is a one of a kind. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't even know who to pair him with. Because it's like,
I'm
wow.
pretty sure that's the same problem they had with Pun. Who do you
Yeah.
pair Pun with? Especially
Yeah,
in his time.
yeah. Like with Av, you can't really pair him with anybody because he's literally one of a kind. So it's like you can't compare him to anybody. Like he has his own sound. So it's like, who do I put him with? I would have to really sit here and think about that because it's not something you just be like, oh yeah, this person and all these 5 people can go with him. Like it's just like something that you'd have to really sit down and think about that will sound right. That could really meet his level. You know? So I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know. I really don't know.
But you
So
do
that's something
know
I'm gonna
for
have to think about.
that you want Easy Av on there.
Oh yeah, 100%. I know, man. Listen, again, I'm not trying to blow smoke or nothing like that, man. But he really murders everything he touches, man. He murders everything he touches. So I know if he were to be on that single, I already know he would be doing it justice. So it's just now what other 5 people are gonna, you know what I mean, that are gonna really meet that. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, but sometimes
So
a producer has to think outside of the box, and not just in terms of beats, but in terms of artists that will feature on that beat. Now, you said you would dig up Michael Jackson to have him make a track with The Weeknd. Now, think a little more outside the box in terms of your single for the band on TV, because maybe you're thinking too inside the box when it comes to styles. You don't always want to match people's styles up together because sometimes unorthodox styles that you may think clash with each other make a fire ass single.
okay. So let's say there's an artist by the name of Jonathan Padilla. He's an amazing singer. I would have him on the track with Av as a hook, as a singer for the hook. Because now I'm trying to think. Oh, I have a beat in my head that I'm put together a style of a beat. So I have him on the hook. Have Av, on the track. I'll have probably Av I can't say Tory because I have a singer on there already, unless he's rapping. But Joyner would
Yeah,
go
and
crazy on it.
after Shine rap from jail, they're not gonna let Tory do it.
After what?
After Shine rapped from jail, they not gonna let Tory do it.
Yeah, E4K for sure. Yeah, 100%. E4K. E4K fitted for sure. Because I'm trying to merge styles, so now I'm thinking out of the box. I'm like, all right, let's now that we're doing this, I'm gonna probably ask some of these people and be like, yo, let's make a record. Let's just do this and see how this comes out. So yeah, Padilla, Easy Ave, E4K, Fitted Santana, Jordan Lucas as 5, 6. Let's stir it up a little bit. Let's make it weird, Method Man. Let's make it different. Let's see, you know what I mean? So
Uncle Meth can get on anything with anybody.
exactly. He never misses. So I know that would probably work. So it'll be definitely a shocker of a record with the different styles and genres of artists on it. So that would be a really crazy record. That would be really dope. I know all those people that I just named would murder it. So
okay. I'm sorry I had to shove it out of you, but sometimes it got to be done. Now, before I let you go, cook up some more classics, pun intended. This is your time to take the stage and let the people know your mission statement.
word, man. Yo, first and foremost, I appreciate you, Jason. Appreciate you, brother, for
My
having me
pleasure.
on here. Man, my name is Glitch, man. Y'all can find me on Instagram, TikTok as prod.glitch. That's GLITXH. Man, show me a follow, man. If y'all need beats, man, don't be afraid to hit me up. Let's work. And I can't wait for y'all to see what I got coming, man. I'm so happy and excited for this. And yeah, let's go.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for coming on, brother. I appreciate you. Everybody, listen out for that Glitch production mixtape coming out. Who knows when, but make sure you listen for it because you're going to need it. It's going to be history in the making. And right here is usually when I will play a commercial, get into the next guest, but we're going to do something a little different. I have to play that intro again for you guys just before we get the next guest on. Glitch, thank you very much. Tell the people
Appreciate
for
you,
me,
brother.
thank you for tuning in to Talking Junk.
Thank you for tuning in to Talking Junk.
And we'll be right back
Yes,
with
sir.
Glen Williams.
Peace, peace.
Welcome to Talking Junk. Talking Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Welcome back to Talking Junk. Shout outs again to Glitch. That track is amazing. Right now, we're going to switch gears. We have our guest waiting for us right in the back there. He is an author. He's a retired Leo, and he speaks open and honest about communication, healing from trauma, PTSD, and how to build and maintain great relationships. So without further ado, Glen Williams. How you doing tonight, Glen?
Good, Jason. Good to be here.
Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Man, that's a hard act to follow. There's a lot of energy there.
There is. He is a prodigy, and you will be hearing his name from here on out echo in the fabric of reality when it comes to hip hop and R&B.
Awesome. Good to see. I look forward to that.
Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Now, what exactly is a retired Leo?
I was a police officer and a detective for 26 years, so a law enforcement officer.
Okay.
And during those 26 years, saw a lot of things that most people don't want to see. And I ended up getting PTSD, and I kind of became my mission in life now to help others not do the same stupid stuff I did, because I ended up divorced. I ended up bankrupt. I lost everything.
All of this because of PTSD?
Well, PTSD related behaviors. I love to blame it on PTSD. That's what most people do.
Okay.
Deep down, I had to get self accountable and look at it as, even though the choices were there and I was influenced by it, it was my choice. And that was big part of the big change I was able to make to heal.
So what are, if you don't mind sharing, what are some of the things that were PTSD related that kind of put your life in a downward spiral?
Well, first off, started off real easy. I just quit talking. And then some of the things with PTSD behaviors, you start thrill seeking. And I looked at,
Now,
I thought,
when you say you stop talking, do you mean you stop reaching out to people, or did you stop talking in general? Did you go mute?
no, to people. I quit sharing with my spouse. I never told her anything that happened at work. You know, and the guys at the time, I felt, because I didn't want to worry her, because there was a lot of stuff going on. And I didn't want her to stress. And then I started, I had to start keeping busy and busy and busy, so I didn't have to think about stuff, because I was having nightmares and things were just coming all the time. And so I worked more. And that was under the guise of taking care of my family, which partially was. But as I look back now, in reality, was so if I was busy, I didn't have to think and I didn't have the nightmares.
Now, how long have you been retired?
I've been retired for 7 years now.
7 years now. So all of this happened when you were still in active duty?
Yes. Started looking back. I think I really started those things about the year right around 1999, 2000, right in there.
Okay.
And then another big issue with PTSD is thrill seeking, because you try to get in that fight or flight, that adrenaline rush. And so we take risks. And back at the time, I was in a lot of foot chases and fights, and looking with a clear head now, I actually talked myself into a lot of them.
I can see that.
So, there's ways I could have handled it differently. And if I were to do it now, I would. But at the time, I had no clue.
Now, where'd you serve?
Pardon me?
Where did you serve?
I served in a city south of Salt Lake City in Utah, about 150,000 people at the time. And then
so what are some of the most common calls you would get on a daily basis?
Well, in the city, they weren't, there were obviously burglaries and obviously thefts and car thefts and those type of things. And that's what some of the ones I kind of got lucky, and I actually got in, picked the right place, the right time, and ended up in some chasing burglar up the mountains and having to chase him on foot through the woods and into a ski resort area. This is in the summer, luckily, so it wasn't snowy. And those are just some of the things that happened. And that was a good call. That wasn't anything I created, but it started. But then, dealing with kids, with the hard ones for me were dealing with kids that were hurt, or like I pulled a kid out of a pond one day and I couldn't save him, and that one ate me alive.
Trust me, that one right there, I can relate. I lost my son similarly.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, this is why conversations like this are kind of important. I know they're also important to you as well, because it kind of alleviates some of the pressure of PTSD to talk about these things.
In order to get through it, you have to talk about it. That's what part of my message is, because as officers, we're trained on just suck it up. You got it. You don't need help. We're good. And back then, if you asked for counseling or therapy or anything like that, they'd get rid of you, unfit for duty.
Well, let's take it back a step further. Us as men growing up were also taught that. So Absolutely. Now you have your upbringing telling you, suck it up, you're a man. And now you have your profession telling you the same thing. So it's a lot of forceful I want to say, oh, you threw me for a loop with that pond kid. I lost my train of thought, but it's a it's a real devastating thing.
It is, and we're taught to do the exact opposite of what we need to do.
Right.
And that's what I've discovered over as I've gone through things is, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Well, that's what we're doing. And so it's time to shift. And what I've discovered is if we can heal ourselves, then we heal our own personal relationships, and then that ripples out into our community, and we start healing those relationships too.
Now, how did you start taking your steps?
I'm a slow learner, so I tried marriage twice, and not realizing that a big part of the issue was me. And I could blame things on my ex-spouses, but I have to look at what I did. And so I ended up spending my 3 years up at my cabin alone in the mountains. I worked, so I drove 57 miles to work every day.
Wow.
But I was up there, and
So about an hour and a half commute?
Yeah, a little over an hour,
Way?
depending on the weather.
Right.
And I started drinking when I was up there. Once I got home, I got up at 3:30, went to worked until 4 or 5, depending on, because there's always overtime and things get hung up. And then I get home at 6 or 7, and I didn't want to go anywhere. So I quit. I just went home, made dinner, and crashed. But while I was crashing, I had started drinking, and I had 2 drinks a night. Now, I was a good boy, only 2 drinks a night, but they were 34 ounces each. And so I was feeling no pain. And I suddenly woke up one day, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and man, the only life you're screwing up is your own. And I'm sitting there in the kitchen looking out the window at the deer walking by in the woods outside my cabin. And I'm looking at all this stuff around me and listening to the breezes in the aspen trees. And it's beautiful. And I was ignoring it. And up to that point, I finally started changing. And I went through some personal enhancement training, trying to get back in who I really am, because I let the job become my life.
As we tend to do, especially when we're going through ailments and we add addiction to the scenario. Yeah. So I cut back on the drinking. I started hiking, walking, getting back in shape. I threw my gym bag in the car because the town was 15 miles from my cabin. So once I was home, I wasn't going to town. So I'd stop on the way through town at the gym and work out every other day. And then go up, and I started eating a little better and getting back in shape and getting back in touch with me. And I finally found out who I am again, because it was hidden deep. So how long exactly did it take the old Glen to learn who the new Glen is?
A couple of years. It took a couple of years. And like I said, I was up there 3 years. And that entire process was a learning process. And then once I opened up, oh my gosh, things just changed.
Did you come right back down to civilization, or did you stay back? Did you stay back a little while to know that you were ready?
Yeah, I was up there. That was probably about 2 years in. I was probably up there 8 more months, and I had nowhere to go back down to, because when I got divorced, that's what I got in the divorce, was the cabin. And the second time, I had rebuilt from nothing after the first divorce. And once I got that back to there, that's where I was at. And I still love that place. I wish I still had it. But one morning I woke up there, and I was talking to a friend of mine as I was going through my changes, a therapist friend of mine. Yes, I started talking to a counselor, and I started taking care of myself, and I started doing all the things that we need to fix things. And I woke up one morning, and I was talking about, what? I can help other officers not do this stupid stuff that I'm doing, because I see it all the time. And if I can help somebody not get divorced if they don't want to get divorced, or not have issues if they don't want to have those issues, then I still win. And when I retired, that's when I started doing this. But I still wanted to make a difference. And that's why I became an officer, is to make a difference in my community. And now I have that opportunity. I was sitting there one morning, And I grabbed a pen and paper about 6 in the morning on my day off. I don't know why I woke up at 6, but I did. And ideas just were flooding in, and I was writing so fast I couldn't even read my writing. And I wrote for 4 or 5 hours. And I went down to my therapist friend, and I said, I got it here. And I struggled through to read it and read it to her, and she goes, well, there's 60% of your program right there. Finish it now.
Wow.
And it was truly, to me, inspired because I couldn't even remember what I wrote.
Now, as a cop, was that stigma hard to break? Because I know a lot of cops don't like to go to therapy.
Yeah. It was a little bit at first, and then after the first couple of times for me, it was like, okay, I need this. I need this because I had been struggling and pushing and not wanting to get outside that. But you're absolutely right. That's one thing. The course I teach now, I travel a country and I teach police officers on communication relations and help reduce PTSD and divorce and suicide. And the course I teach, I'm also a firearms instructor, and I did all the cool stuff too. And if I hold one of those classes, it's full. But if I hold a class about communication relations and looking at yourself, I struggle to get people in because that's the biggest fear of people is to look inside themselves, and especially cops.
That's a good observation that you just had, a good realization that it's easier to fill a room when we're talking about guns, but it's hard to fill the room when you're talking about the one thing that should be thought of within operating a gun, which is your mind. Yeah. Have you ever thought of integrating both classes?
I had somebody mention that to me once, and I haven't quite figured out how to do that yet, but that's
it could be a game changer because there's a lot of people that are against firearms that would agree most states should require a psychiatric evaluation before giving most of these people guns.
There's a lot that would do that. I don't see that ever happening, but
I don't see it ever happening either. But
yeah, I do talk about, because I still teach a firearms course, and when I have people in there, I talk about the mental aspects of if you're ever in a shooting, whether it's justified or not, it's still going to destroy you if you're not careful. In fact, most officers that are involved, even in justified shootings, careers last less than 5 years after that. Because we're not born to take life. That's not how we're raised.
Right.
And to do so is one of the most horrific things that we can even think of.
Now, I have your website here pulled up. Let me put it on screen. So is your book being turned into a documentary? Am I reading this right?
Well,
or are you a part of this documentary?
I'm part of that documentary. It's not part of my book. My book right now, we're looking at doing a script for a movie with it.
Okay.
And we've been talking about that for a while, and I finally got my part done. So we'll see where that goes and turns up. Because I pitched it one day and I was told it should be a documentary. And when I took it to a guy that does documentaries, he says, "Nah, I can't do a documentary of this." And I was kind of disappointed, going, "Okay, what do I do?" He says, "Oh no, this needs to be a feature."
Wow.
So we're working on a script right now, and I have a producer that will take a look at it. So we'll see what happens on that in the next couple of years.
So give us the gist of your book. What exactly can we expect from cover to cover?
My book is called Bridging the Gap. It's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and a whole bunch of others. It tells the things that caused me trauma throughout my career and how I did not deal with them back in the day and how I would do it differently now. And then I offer suggestions on ways to work through trauma. There's so many ways, and so many of them are outside the box. That's what I discovered is, it's not all about taking meds and stuff, but talking to a therapist is a great start. But I found one that I really like is called Tibetan bowls, or singing bowls. They're these brass or metal bowls made in Tibet.
Right.
They rub with a stick, and they they do a, they make a sound and a humming and a vibration, and it's really healing. I love going and doing that.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
I have visions. It puts me out, and I have visions when I do that. It's kind of cool. But
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so I have a gal that I go meet with that I do that periodically. But then I also, stress relief is big. So I talk about breathing. Exercise is huge for me. But it's important for everybody to keep our body healthy. And we feel better about ourselves as we do that too. And so it's a lot of common sense stuff, but just all pulled together. And that's kind of, I get into that a little bit in my book too.
Okay. Well, now let's face it. We're Americans. You got the flag up there.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, what sells these programs are success stories. So how far have you come now to be able to do all of this? Where are you now to show people, this is where I was 7 years ago, and this is the man I am today. Here I am, world, the new Glen Williams.
It's amazing. I travel the country and I speak to people. My relationships, I got remarried. I got another chance, and it's funny because it was the old, third time's a charm. Yeah. But if it was the old me, she would have gone out a few times, said he's nice, but, and we've been together now 8 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And we have a great relationship, zero secrets. I mean, I'm so open, she can read my face and tell what I'm thinking. And it kind of scares me sometimes.
It should.
Yeah. But you know what? It's like I told her I could change, because she says I'm too open sometimes. I said I could change, but no, I like it the way it is. And that's exactly. So yes, I have a successful, great relationship now. I travel the country and I speak, not quite as often as I would like to. And I actually spoke at a hospital to some medical personnel last month, and that was awesome. Because they have the same stuff that we do, that comes. Right. And in fact, what I've discovered is everybody in life has trauma. Everybody. You have your probably the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to you.
Oh yeah, I definitely suffer from PTSD.
Yeah. My son was blown up in Afghanistan. And,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, he lived, but 4 years at Walter Reed and 40 some surgeries, so he could sort of walk. And but then you take my son, he 3 firefights a day, almost hit by rockets twice or 3 times. Take me seeing, chasing burglars, getting in almost 50-foot chases and fights, picking up dead bodies when I worked for transit. There's too many to even really get into. The children were the hardest one. There was 2 of them that I absolutely remember. And I talk about some of these really openly in my book, and share some of those experiences that just ripped me apart. And then you have the housewife up the street, 40 years old. She had her dog for 15 years, and she watched him get hit by a car and dies in front of her. Wow. Whose PTSD or trauma is worse? Well, it's the same. It doesn't matter what the instigating event is. The trauma is the same, and that's what people don't seem to realize. They get hooked on the story behind the trauma.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I can't compare to my sons at all. Not even close. And the housewife up the street probably can't compare to mine, the story wise, but the end result's the same. And so the whole idea is, if we can heal ourselves first, that will ripple to our families, which then ripples out and makes our whole communities just safer and better places in all of our relationships.
Now, nobody can do it on their own.
No.
So what are some of the steps that you provide that can kind of help get the normal average Joe or the war or police vet to get into the same tune and take the same steps?
The first thing is I get to live by example. And that's the best. It's like raising a kid. You can't tell him to do one thing when you're doing the opposite. And the same thing when I was a police officer. I'm not above the law. I enforce the law. I had to follow and be the example for everybody else. And that was how I tried to live. And I felt that's how I truly feel is nobody's above anything. We get to contribute in. I openly talk about it to people. And, I when I spoke the other day at the hospital, I got a really nice text message the next day, which kind of blew my mind, but I was grateful for the feedback. Is one of the guys on the gal at the hospital says, one of the guys messaged me, said, thank me for bringing you out. He bought your book, and he wanted you to know that he went home last night and had a heart-to-heart talk with his wife. Amen. That's what it's about.
Well, that must have felt good.
It did, because I don't normally get immediate feedback. That was the next day, and I normally don't get feedback. Sometimes I'll get written things, and you know how when you write down an evaluation at the end of a course, everybody's kind of vague and nothing specific. And so that was
Right.
really, yeah. And so that's the only thing I can do is I can go talk to people. I can get it out there. I can put it out and just let them know, you know what, it's okay. Number one, it's okay to not be okay. Number two, it's not okay to stay not okay. It's okay.
I like that. I like that. I don't think I've heard that one before. I like that.
I
like
think
that
I
a
just
lot.
made that one up, part of it.
Hey, it's good. It's good. It's real good, because it's not okay to not be okay. It's not okay to stay not okay. It's perfect wording. If you could go back and pull yourself out at a time where you know all your learnings now would benefit yourself, how would you kind of get yourself out of that funk?
Wow. Number one, I would have had open communication if I was doing that, because that's the biggest thing that I do differently now. There are, like, say, zero secrets, and if it comes into my mind, it's coming out my mouth. So I let my wife know everything, and if I that's the one thing I would shift, because when I first got married the first time, that was how we were, and then as I got into work more and more, it shifted, and I would really fight against that. So I would find somebody to talk to. Back then we didn't know what depression was.
Right.
We knew people went through funks, but we didn't know what it was. We didn't know about. There were therapists and stuff all over the place, not like there are now. I mean, it's not like they're all over now running rampant, but they're a lot more plentiful. And we now have the knowledge to go. So if I had that then, I would shift the way I did things. I would openly talk. I would have no secrets. I would just have it out there the way it is. And if that had happened, with the knowing now, my first wife suffered from depression, and that was a great excuse to blame things on. But that's not the reality. Is we got to work our way through those.
Right.
And I would know more about how to do that. So I would have been doing that instead of just sitting back going, okay, this sucks.
Now, when you talk about no more secrets and that if it's in your head, it's out of your mouth, a lot of people don't get, like we get, you're speaking about intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, well, intrusive thoughts, or if I do a behavior, I'm not going to hide it.
Okay.
I mean, everything is what you see is what you get, and I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not going to make anything. And as far as intrusive thoughts, I do a lot of reading, as you can see, and I read a lot of different things. And what I do now is I actually write. I'm writing my second and third book, and I've had 3 people talk to me about co-writing books with them on leadership in law enforcement and on problem children in law enforcement and things like that. And so I've broadened my horizons so much that I don't have time to let intrusive crap come in.
Now, for the person who may not have the same workflow as you do, how can you help them manage their intrusive thoughts?
Get into a rhythm or a pattern of some sort, because we're creatures of habit. So develop those good habits. So
Absolutely.
I set aside, I get up first thing in the morning and I make my coffee, get my dog out and let him do his little thing and run him a little bit. And then I come in and I write. because while I'm fresh, I write. And then once I'm done writing, I still do martial arts and have for many, many years. And so I go work out for a half hour, just going through, it may just be going through forms, or it may be doing techniques, or it might be just working my buns off on a treadmill. But I do that for about a half hour to an hour. And then when I do those things, I'm off to a good roll on that day. And by doing that, then, and I still work part-time. I have a hard time slowing down and stopping. And so if I have to go to work, I'll go to work. Or if I don't, then I'll work around. And I actually found out I like yard work, which I never thought I'd like yard work. But I actually like to go out and take care of things and really make it nice. And so I keep busy. And then, like I say, for me, my artistic break is the writing. And then for anything else, I go. And then, my wife she's kind of she's an artist type. And so we do creative things, which that keeps all that other garbage out too. And again, if they come in, I talk to, sometimes I say things to my wife I probably shouldn't. In the old days, I wouldn't have, but I just tell her, I said, would you rather know what I'm thinking and feeling, or would you rather me hide it? And no, they don't want it hidden. They want to know. Because when you hide stuff, where does their mind go? It always goes to the worst place. They know you're hiding something, and they always think it goes to the worst, because that's what our mind does.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah. So, come from the heart and just be open.
All right. Now, we don't want to take up too much of your time. We know you're a busy man. You're writing 2 books. You got a routine to follow, which I believe you would agree that is very important, especially in a PTSD-filled lifestyle. You want to keep a routine. So what fitting into our routine, this is your part of the show right now, where you get the center stage and you get to tell people your message, where to find you, and how to keep the life that you're maintaining right now.
You can find me on my website at gdubgdubauthor.com. And there's an email there if you want a message or whatever, and I'm open to talk with anybody at any time. Find somebody to talk to, and don't be afraid to open up and talk. That is number one. And whether that be your spouse, a friend, a therapist, or just somebody you trust, find somebody to talk to, and trust yourself, because most of the time we hold ourselves back for lack of self-trust, and get to know yourself well enough that you trust yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Glenn, for coming on. We appreciate your time. Can you just tell the people for me, thanks for tuning in to Talking Junk?
Thanks for tuning in with me and Talking Junk.
Well, thank you. Hold on real quick while I close this out for the viewers, and I'll see you in just a second.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. The first doubleheader Talking Junk that I've had. And to be honest with you, I kind of like it this way. I don't know if I'll do it going forward, because I do, as you know, schedule a lot out in advance. So we are booked for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, but we'll see what we can do about getting on 2 beautiful guests with beautiful topics for you every week, because who doesn't like a whole plethora of junk to talk? Because I know I do. I love it. That's why you can catch me here every week. Same time, same stations, same face, same voice, same target audience. You. Stay tuned. We're going to be back every single week for that ass. We ain't going nowhere. You can try to cancel us as much as you want. We're only going to come back full force for those eardrums to enjoy or to annoy. We love you. Peace out. Lamb chops. Tell them. How I cut my own exit off. You see what happens? Technical difficulties every week, but that's why you come back, because you love to see me flustered. Like I said, we love you. Peace out. Hit them with it, lamb chops.